Hey guys, it's Ken from Keto Productions TV. Today I'm going to be attempting to cook for the very first time a Porterhouse steak. As you can see, it's 2.16 pounds, $19.99 per pound. The price was $43.18. And again, it's the most expensive steak I've ever bought and the biggest steak I'm ever going to try to eat. So first of all, you're going to set your oven to 275. We're going to be cooking it low and slow. We're going to be rubbing our steak with a little bit of olive oil so that our seasoning sticks to the steak. We're going to be using fresh ground pepper, pink Himalayan salt, and garlic powder. Pour a little bit of the olive oil on the steak. Rub it all over the steak. Grab your pink Himalayan salt grinder and load up the salt. The more the merrier. A nice dusting of freshly ground pepper. And finally, a light dusting of garlic powder. Turn her over and repeat. Olive oil, rub it in, salt, pepper, and you guessed it, garlic powder. Spread your seasoning around, make sure it's all nice and even, and then drag the edges of your steak through the spilt over seasoning on your cutting board. And then put your steak on a cooking rack on a cookie sheet. For easier cleanup, I should have used parchment paper or foil. When your oven gets to temperature, put your steak in and set your timer for 25 minutes for the first check. While the steak is cooking, we're going to be preparing our shiitake mushrooms. Apparently, brown mushrooms are the best to go with the steak. We'll once again be using olive oil, grass-fed unsalted butter. I didn't have any fresh garlic, so I'm going to be using this garlic paste. After I clean the mushrooms, I'm going to remove the stems, which you can add to a soup. Slice up your mushroom tops somewhat thinly. I should have heated up my pan and put the olive oil in, but I did it backwards. I threw all my mushrooms in and then turned on the stove and then added my olive oil, but it all came together eventually. Turn your stove on to like a medium heat and then start frying up your mushrooms and get them to where they change to a nice color like this. Add a tablespoon of the grass-fed butter. Melt that down. Add a teaspoon of garlic paste, but if you have fresh garlic, add 1 or 2 cloves of crushed garlic. Start frying up the garlic, and once it's ready to go, mix it all together with the rest of the mushrooms. Because the garlic paste had salt in it, I didn't need to add salt, so I just added some ground pepper to taste. And a tablespoon of soy sauce and mixed it all together once again. So let me know in the comments below if you love shiitake mushrooms and if you're going to try this recipe. Once it's all mixed together and looks like this, shut off your stove, remove it from the heat, and we'll just set it aside until our steak is done, and then we'll reheat it. The ambient room temperature in my kitchen right now is 72 degrees Fahrenheit. And we want the internal temperature of the steak to be around 133 to 135 degrees Fahrenheit. And as you'll be able to see in a second, at the 25-minute mark, it was only 103, so we got a little bit to go. I put it back in the oven for another 20 minutes. And when the 20 minutes was over, we took it out again. Checked the temperature once again, and it was 117.9, almost 118 degrees Fahrenheit. So I set my timer for another 15 minutes. When the 15 minutes was up, took it out again, measured the temperature, and it was 127.6. So I put it back in the oven for another 7 minutes.
Okay, 7 minutes and counting.
Finally, after 72 minutes, we reached a core temperature of 136, which is perfect. Next up, we're going to be searing both sides of the steak to give it a nice crust on the edges. Turn your stove on to a medium-high heat. We're going to be using some olive oil and a tablespoon of grass-fed butter and some fresh thyme. Add your olive oil to the hot pan and your tablespoon of grass-fed butter. Get that all nice and melted down and bubbling, and then we're going to add our steak. As you can see, the steak at the moment doesn't look too exciting, but that's why we're going to sear it on both sides. Now that the cast iron pan is red hot, we're going to drop our steak in and push it down into the pan to make sure every part of that meat on that one side is in contact with that pan. Now add your thyme. It's obviously better if you just put it off to the side into the hot oil and butter. After 45 seconds, flip it over and look at the color of that sear. Doesn't that not look amazing, guys? When that 45 seconds is all done, shut off your stove. Remove the meat from the pan and let it rest for a couple minutes while we reheat our mushrooms. We are definitely not going to waste that oil and butter and thyme. We're going to pour that back into our mushrooms and reheat our mushrooms, and then we'll plate it. When your mushrooms are all done, put your steak on a plate. I couldn't believe the steak was almost bigger than the plate. Add your mushrooms and juices, and you're ready to eat. Now there is a meal fit for a king. I am very excited and happy that it turned out as well as it did. All right, guys, this is probably the biggest steak I've ever tried to cook and the biggest steak I've ever tried to eat. Again, this side is the New York and this is the fillet. I'm gonna dig into that New York and see if Sam, the cooking guy, is good at his word. It took me a lot longer, unfortunately, in the oven. I don't know what the difference in ovens were. I had it at the same temperature as he had. I think it probably took 10 to 15 minutes longer. So let's cut into this. Again, this is the New York. Oh my gosh. This is the best steak I've ever cooked in my life. Check that out, ladies and gentlemen. That is like perfect medium. I think next time I'll cook it maybe just a little bit shorter, just so I get a medium rare action going on. We'll see how it goes. But apparently Sam said from side to side, top to bottom, left to right, it's going to be like this, perfectly cooked. And this is called reverse searing. Oh, the cat's coming. Okay, here we go. Ready? You can't have any. That is incredible. What do you think, Sonny? Got Sam down here. I got Sonny over here. The mushrooms are fantastic. These are the shiitake mushrooms. And I've never personally ever cooked shiitake mushrooms for any meal. I always buy regular like white button ones. So I'm probably gonna be buying these from now on, especially if I'm gonna make a steak. So again, Sam, the cooking guy. Now we're digging into the fillet. Oh my God, it is so much more tender. Wow. It is so much easier to cut through that. Yeah, this is like, again, the most perfect steak I have ever cooked. Check this out, come on in. Look at this. Yeah, this is exactly the way I like my steak. That is perfect. Juicy, medium rare. Okay, let's do this. Fillet. All the seasoning we put on there was exactly the right amount. When I went to the farmhouse to buy this, the lady that worked there, she came and showed me two at the door. She goes, which one do you want? They're both the same price, but they're shaped differently. And I'm like, I couldn't choose, so I bought them both. So I'm gonna be doing this again probably next month. Or I'll give it to Paul and say, dude, enjoy, because this is beautiful. And the shiitake mushrooms, I almost wanted to do what Sam the cooking guy did and like cut it all off the bone and then cut it into little strips. Look at this, it's all meat and then a huge chunk of fat on the side, and Sam's whining. No doubt, eh, Sonny? What do you think? Yeah. There's nothing I would do differently to that steak. The other one thing I did differently than Sam did is I added some thyme to it. Sonny, you gotta go, bub. As I put thyme in, and I watched a few different videos. I liked Sam's the best. It was the easiest. Stay there. Or come over here. Sam's was the easiest recipe to follow, and I enjoyed doing it. It was very, very simple and easy. The only thing I took from another person's video is that they put thyme into the pan with the steak. So it does taste, you can definitely taste the thyme. This is grass-fed and grain-fed beef. I'm gonna do a little bit more in New York. Give it a little bit to our very patient animals to see if Sonny likes it. The one thing I find when I give the pets a little taste is sometimes they don't like certain things that I put in. Sam is definitely going to like it. Sonny, come here. What do you think? Will Sonny eat my steak? Does it get the cat approval? Yes. That is good eating, Sonny. You're not, for 45 bucks steak, you're not going to be eating that too often. And then we've got Sam with a nice, beautiful, tender piece of beef. Ooh, is that good? It was good, wasn't it? Okay, well, one more big bite, guys, and then I'll let you go. But again, if you want maybe to watch, thanks for watching my video, number one. Number two, go check out Sam the cooking guy and see how he cooked it, just in case I missed anything. I don't think I did. Again, it took me a lot longer. Again, just keep checking your meat with the thermometer and make sure it's where it's supposed to be. He stopped it at 134. Mine went up to 137, I think, but it's still perfect. And it's 45 seconds per side to grill it up to get that nice edge to it crushed. Mmm. Phenomenal. This is that perfect steak that Cypher ate on the Matrix. Right now I'm in the Matrix and my brain is telling me this is a good steak. It is juicy, it is flavorful, and you can put me back in to the Matrix because ignorance is bliss. Sam still wants more. He is whining down here. Look at that tail wag. You can't have any more, dude. This is too good for you. All right, guys, thanks for watching my video. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see more cooking videos like this. If you see other recipes on the internet, let me know what you want me to cook for you and for me, so I can sit down and enjoy this, and you guys can sit down and watch me enjoy this. So if you want to show your support for me doing these videos just for you, hit it with a thumbs up, ding, 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 ding. But if you're hungry for more, check out that amazing playlist down over there. And I'll see you over there. Bring your hunger.